To this point, I have talked about several ways in which Japanese and American public junior high schools are similar. Now I would like to discuss some more eye-popping dissimilarities between the two school systems, beginning with the teachers and then followed by school protocol. In Japan, and unlike in schools in America, where each teacher has his or her own classroom and stays and teaches in that room for the majority of the day, Japanese teachers work out of one large faculty room, or as I like to call, the command center. The command center is broken up into 7th grade, 8th grade, and the 9th grade section. Teachers prepare their lessons here, and the command center is also the place where 30-minute meetings are held on every school day morning. In the meetings, they discuss anything from school trips, curriculum, problem students, even inefficient supplies of toilet paper. True story. Furthermore, my British friend, Dean Tisbury, who is an English teacher at a public high school where morning meetings are also the norm, told me that in his high school, they had a meeting to talk about their students sleeping in class and the problems that were created as a result. Dean said that he looked around during the meeting and he was shocked to see 3 or 4 of his fellow teachers sleeping during this meeting about not sleeping in class. Dean then said, I couldn't understand most of the Japanese language, but at least I was sitting upright and listening. But I can't really blame these teachers because they work very long hours and they need some sleep once in a while, but maybe not during the meeting. Most Japanese teachers arrive at 7:30 a.m. and work until about 6 p.m. on weekdays. Since April of 2002, classes have been terminated on Saturday by the Japanese government. Kids are happy, parents are not. But this fact still does not deter the teachers from coming in on Saturdays to have meetings, work on lesson plans, or coach the baseball, basketball, volleyball, or table tennis clubs. Every student in junior high school has to participate in a club activity. Japanese teachers are overworked, underpaid, and as my friend Dean said, sleep deprived. Now, doesn't this sound like the lives of most American teachers too? Yes, I agree, but in Japan, almost all of them have to teach a club activity, even if there's only one club member, and they have to come at least 5 days a week during their seasonal breaks and just be there or prepare lessons for the next semester. What is truly amazing about this fact, and what the American Teachers Union would be certainly irate about, is that these teachers do not get paid any extra money for any of the extra work. And consequently, their underpaid salaries are still equivalent to the underpaid salaries of American teachers. Furthermore, these Japanese teachers do this continually, year after year, without complaint or with very little complaint, because they know that this is how things are done in Japan. For example, I've been talking to a first-year teacher who told me that she's thinking of resigning after only 1 year of teaching because of all the time that she has to spend during her vacation coming into class or coming into the office. I truly sympathize for this teacher and for the rest of the Japanese teachers because their lives are so hard and stressful. On the contrary, in the U.S., junior high school teachers get their winter and spring breaks completely off, and deservedly so, and in the summer, most of them don't have to go to school until about 1 or 2 weeks before the school year starts to get their classroom organized. Japanese teachers also have to bear more responsibility for their students than American teachers. For instance, when a student gets angry or for some reason runs away from home, it is the teacher's, not the parent's responsibility to find him or her, console him or her, and bring him back to his parents. In 2001, while I was teaching at Nishin Junior High School in Wakayama, we had a male student who ran away from home, and during the day, the parents called our school, and the parents wanted to talk to his homeroom teacher, Mr. Suzuki, who is also my a team teacher, and Mr. Suzuki had to go out and search for him. To this day, I can still remember Mr. Suzuki picking up the phone, being polite, and leaving the school in a rush, getting in his car, and go out and look for him. A few minutes later, or a few hours later, more stressed out but relaxed, Mr. Suzuki came back to our school and with the missing student. A couple of days later, I was quite taken aback by this because I learned on this day that if a student earns a bad grade, gets in trouble, in or out of school, it is the teachers who are contacted first, not the parents. Instead, it is the student's school and then his or her homeroom teacher that have to bear all the responsibility. In America, the responsibility of the student lies, of course, with the parents, not the school or homeroom teacher. But like I reminded myself then, and as I do now, Japan is not America, and America is not Japan. Each country has its own way of doing things, and each country has its own positives and negatives. School policy for uniforms also differs in Japan and America. For example, all Japanese public junior high schools and private junior high schools as well, the students must wear the school uniforms from the time they leave school, from the time they leave home until they return home later that night. Students must also wear pins that reveal their names, the name of the school, and the grade level that they are in. One of the major reasons this policy is in place is so if a student gets lost, or they're roaming around the neighborhood, or getting in some type of trouble, the police can look at the student's ID badge and know which school to contact. In America, some junior high schools are making uniform wearing school policy, but this is more for students to not have to compete over who's wearing better clothes, or so gang colors cannot be made visible on their clothing. School protocol is also different in several areas between the two countries. For example, Japanese students do not switch classes between periods. Instead, they spend the entire day studying their core subjects in their homeroom class. In the classroom, they store their belongings in tiny lockers, eat their lunches, and greet their teachers by standing up and bowing to him or her as he or she enters the classroom. After each period, the students receive a 10-minute break. During this time, they can talk as loud as they like, they can enter or leave the classroom at their own leisure. If they want to wrestle or run in the hallways, it's okay. The teachers will not discipline them for any of this behavior unless they see them fighting or acting in a violent or indecent manner. This type of behavior never occurred while I worked at the 3 junior high schools. I was quite surprised at our students' behavior. They were very good, and this was actually at a school where the behavior was known to be bad. But they could be trusted by the faculty and staff, and deservedly so. In America, students often switch classrooms, store their backpacks and lockers outside of the classroom, and greet their teachers by saying good morning. American students only get 3 to 4 minutes to change classes, and their behavior is supervised by teachers in the hallway or even by security guards. Most American students also eat supervised lunches in the cafeteria, not in the classroom like in Japan. In regards to how boys and girls are treated by their teachers in both countries, I only know that in America many gender researchers, like Mrs. Catherine